Hey, my name is Willie Minnix. I am the author of the Mandolin Dead Man's Tuning series of books and the brand new book, Lyrics and Music Theory for Aspiring Songwriters. And I'm here today to talk about 5 tips that will help you make your chord progressions a little bit better. Tip number 1. Everybody uses the 1 minor 6 4 5 in some variation as a starting point. I want you to keep in mind that it is just a starting point. You can write a nice song and use those chords in whatever order you want to use them in, but they will just be a starting point if you want to make a complex, more interesting sounding song. It takes a little bit more work, and so there are things that you can do to the 1 minor 6 4 5 to make your song just a little bit more interesting. One of those is tip number 2, falling chords. You might try using a falling chord, and an example of a falling chord is if you go from, say, a major 5 down to a minor 5, or a major 4 down to a minor 4, or sometimes even a major 1 to a minor 1. Some examples of songs that use falling chords would be Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. It goes from an F to an F minor at one point in the song. The song To Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan and all the millions of people who have recorded it since him. He actually has 2 falling chords. He goes from a minor 5, which is a G in his case, down to a G minor. Then he goes from an F down to an F minor. It's pretty interesting the way that he uses that. The opposite of falling chords would be tip number 3. Use raising chords. If you have a minor chord like a minor 2, which, if you're in C, that'd be a D minor, you could raise it up to a major 2. If you have a minor 3, you could raise it up to a major 3, or a minor 6, raise it up to a major 6. Number 4, you could try modal borrowing. What do I mean by modal borrowing? You're borrowing chords that are actually from related modes, and you don't have to even understand a whole lot about modes, but I'll give you a couple that you can try out. One of the most popular, you'll hear it in heavy metal music of the 70s and early 80s all the time, is using a flat 7 chord. So if you were in the key of C, you'd go C, B flat, F. That would be a modal borrowing, because you're kind of pretending that you're in the key of F, but you're really in the key of C. Another one you could try is a flat major 6. So if you were in the key of C, minor 6 would be A minor, while the flat major 6 would be A flat major. Or you could try a flat major 3. So you would throw in an E flat major. And you'll hear this on some of the 90s era stuff of Elton John, where he goes from, like, say, a C chord to a B flat to an A flat to an E flat, then maybe to F and G, and then back to C. That's just something that, was a modal thing that he was doing. Step number 5. 5, I don't know if you can see my hand. 5. Copy the classics. There's a lot in classical music with the chord progressions that the great composers use that you can actually get benefit from. So get yourself maybe the chords for, you don't even have to read music. I know some of you out there are like, oh no, classical music means I have to read music. Not really. Just get yourself a chord chart book of classical pieces. There's fake books for classical music. Get yourself something like that, and then look at the chord charts, or the chords that the classical composers used, and let that give you an inspiration. I mean, how many songs have copied the Pachelbel's canon chord progression? I mentioned Don't Look Back in Anger a minute ago. That one does. Also, Hook by Blues Traveler copies that, and there are several other that copy that particular classical piece. Well, think of all the other classical pieces that are out there that have tunes that are built off of chord progressions that we would instantly recognize, that if you changed the tune around and changed the rhythm and stuff, you would have a really interesting song. So those are some tips that you can think about. I will come back in another video and give you 5 more tips that can help you with your chords. But until then, you have a great day. God bless. And if you get a chance, check out my book, Lyrics and Music. You can get it at Amazon. You could get an extended version at Barnes & Noble. And hopefully it'll have something in there that'll help you write better songs. Have a great day.